before we get to the NIL, I want to just give everybody a little context and a little background on how transitioning out of college to the real world in our time was before we talk about the impact of what NIL could be, whether it be positive or negative. So anybody want to tackle that question? Like how easy or how hard is it for athletes in general to transition from college to the real life if you're not going to make it to the NFL? And I know everyone's situation is different. Anybody want to tackle that? What you got on CA?
Man, I'll be honest with you. That's a difficult transition. That's a tough role for most athletes to take on simply because you're not prepared for it. As a college athlete, 9 times out of 10, you were catered to. And when I say catered to, your schedule was set. A lot of your itinerary was picked out for you. A lot of the events were already predetermined. So you didn't have a chance to learn how to build your own day. You didn't have a chance to learn how to go about some of those things that you are going to need to focus on in the business world. And then when you are transitioning, when you're getting away from sports and you find yourself competing with some of the population who haven't had that same concern, over the past years when you've been worried about athletics and trying to combine that with academics, and now you're dealing with a population that's been extremely focused. You got to find that same focus. You got to find a way to translate those things you learned in sports and see how is this going to work in a business environment. What did I really get myself into? The decisions that I've made, how can I make them relevant now as I move forward? And I think that process in itself, getting to know yourself, what you can contribute and bring to the table, and then those obstacles that you're going to be faced with. The people that have the experience over you, the time that you spent doing something else versus focusing on a career path that you're now geared towards. It's a lot that's involved in it, and a lot of guys fall victim to it because it's a hard transition, but it's one that we're all forced to make at some point or another. So I envy every athlete that goes through it, whether you're young or old. You can be in high school dealing with this just because of an injury. Your career is taken away from you, and now you find yourself with brand new options and alternatives that you had not considered previously. So I think it's a daunting task, especially when you've committed yourself so much to athletics, but it's one that can be overcome. You just have to find a way to reposition your thinking and take on that next challenge wholeheartedly, just like you did sports.
So let me ask you this, and everything you spoke to, I would say this. Let's say that whatever athlete A didn't actually get the degree. How do you think that does that possibly hinder the transition, or what's your take on that? Like, granted, you don't need a degree to be successful. I'm not saying that's the case, but just being an athlete.
I think it plays a role whether you get your degree or not because of the psyche, because you made the commitment. When I was awarded my scholarship, let me just speak for myself. When I was in a position to get my scholarship, I knew that I had 2 options: either going to the league or you're gonna graduate. Because otherwise, what did you get from that deal? Because we know you got to commit blood, sweat, and tears. You've sacrificed a lot, whether it be free time with your friends or time with the family. You've made a commitment to go on this journey, and the end result needs to be an opportunity to further your career in one way or another, whether it's playing sports or going in a corporate environment. So when you don't get that degree, it can be tough. That can be demoralizing. That can be a tough pill to swallow, because you might want to look in the mirror and figure out, okay, what am I really doing this for? Why did I sacrifice? You'll start to second guess some of those decisions, and that's not uncommon. You can bounce back from it, but it can definitely be something that you look on and you wonder, was it worth the sacrifices that I've made? So I know for me personally, getting my degree was extremely important, and it didn't happen immediately. I had to go back and finish. Everybody on this call knows, but the population might not know. I didn't get it right the first time around. I had some struggles, and it was primarily because I was trying to have too much fun, doing a little bit too much on the side, outside of the classroom. So I had to go back and
second
finish.
that notion.
Exactly. So, I understand that, and I feel like it's imperative that we work hard to get that degree. It's not guaranteed because they're not giving them out, regardless of what a lot of people might think outside of sports. So I think it's important to answer that question, and I think that was one of the main reasons I had to go back because I needed that for myself.
Let me